Following the release of CD Projekt Red's most recent huge AAA role-playing game, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, many fans including myself were surprised at the value of its 2 DLC expansions. Hearts of Stone was a phenomenal DLC which was mainly centered around its compelling new characters and story. Blood and Wine brought us to the beautiful setting of Tucson, in which we uncovered a mystery and received our final farewell to Geralt of Rivia. CD Projekt Red is exactly what many gamers want from a developer and publisher, and that's to be fair. Now, with this industry of video games changing so fast, it looks like Cyberpunk 2077's focus on multiplayer is much more than we expected. Speaking to a Polish investment site, CD Projekt Red CEO Adam Kaczynski spoke on the future of the company, in which he says a lot of it hinges on the success of Gwent and Cyberpunk 2077. But what really is catching eyes and worrying fans is the following comments made by Adam Kaczynski about Cyberpunk 2077. He says, quote unquote, "Multiplayer is strategically important. Playing online is strategically important because we want to have a commercial leg for service type games. Games which generate stable income, period to period, which are built. Of course, every game ends after a number of years. Some service type games function even after 10 years. But outside our main source of income, meaning big names, it's building a stable source of income, and in the future, we can imagine a lot of connections between big games and service type games. We have to acknowledge it. It is obvious." As you can expect, many fans and gamers are worried that this is the signal of microtransactions. Now, there is one thing to understand about CD Projekt Red, and that's their outside influences. What I mean by that is CD Projekt Red founder Marcin Nowinski in April of 2016 said in an interview with GameIndustry.biz that they wish to emulate the Rockstar Games model. Specifically in the interview, he says, quote unquote, "The Witcher finished with 80 people, The Witcher 3 finished with 250, so Cyberpunk will probably be even more. Don't think about scale in terms of us doing 20 projects. No, we'll focus on certain things. We don't want to be a 10 project studio. The Rockstar model is nice." And he continued later in this interview saying, quote unquote, "If we take a look at our role models, what Rockstar is doing is amazing. It's not like we have to ship a game or we may not hit our financial goals. It's, here's Grand Theft Auto 5, and by the way, it's the best game ever made. We're all looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 2 because we know they'll show something and we'll be like, oh my god." Obviously, this isn't CD Projekt Red coming out and saying we want to be just like Rockstar Games, but it definitely seems like CD Projekt views Rockstar Games as role models. In July of 2016, speaking at that year's InfoShare, Marcin Nowinski revealed his top 3 game developers, in which he listed Bethesda Game Studios, Blizzard, and Rockstar Games. I think it's important to understand the success of Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online is something that every single developer and publisher wants. So CD Projekt Red is certainly going to attempt to bring a massive overall experience within the single player and the multiplayer. What I expect is that CD Projekt Red isn't going to do anything like Star Wars Battlefront 2, but instead try to do something like Grand Theft Auto Online. Could that be free updates and some type of virtual currency? That's certainly possible, but I'm sure that this team understands, in the eyes of gamers, they are one of the last developers that can be fully trusted. For now, I think it's smart to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I definitely have my worries because, like The Witcher 3's 2 expansions, we all want to see after Cyberpunk 2077 releases some added single player content. Rockstar Games and CD Projekt Red have a lot of similarities. Before the release of Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar Games was viewed as probably one of the most trusted game developers for supporting single player content. That can be evidenced by Max Payne, Bully, Red Dead Redemption, LA Noire, and all Grand Theft Auto games before Grand Theft Auto 5. Some of these titles included some amazing single player DLC, such as Grand Theft Auto 4's The Ballad of Gay Tony and The Lost and the Damned, as well as Red Dead Redemption's Undead Nightmare. While some of these titles included multiplayer, they were never the main focus, but when Grand Theft Auto 5 came, everything changed. The single-player expansion was cancelled due to the success and resources needed for Grand Theft Auto Online, and the future for many gamers is in question because Rockstar Games' parent company Take-Two Interactive, who owns 2K Games as well, has made it their mission for every single game that they release moving forward to feature microtransactions. Remember, this is Take-Two Interactive. The CEO, Strauss Zelnick, earlier this year said that they have under-monetized on Grand Theft Auto Online and other games, which is just insane as they have garnered billions and billions of dollars off of just microtransactions. This is just honestly a clear example of corporate greed, which is a problem in this industry. But now looking at CD Projekt Red, they've released the Witcher trilogy, which was a phenomenal single player driven experience, and recently they also released the free-to-play card game Gwent, which does feature microtransactions, but for a free-to-play game I would say it's very fair. As Adam Kaczynski has stated, Cyberpunk 2077 and Gwent are very important for the future, and I think what worries myself the most, it's really what happens if Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer is the next Grand Theft Auto Online. What could be the fallout? While I think Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be both grand in its single player and multiplayer, that's a lingering question that many of us will have. But there is one massive difference between Rockstar and CD Projekt Red, and that is CD Projekt Red has independence and is free to do as they wish. If a company like Take-Two or EA or Activision or Warner Brothers own CD Projekt Red, it's hard to imagine that The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt would have been what it is today. Who knows if they could have been forced to add multiplayer or microtransactions, or maybe even not allowed to make single player expansions. Independence is really the good thing about CD Projekt Red, and is why I think most of us should give them the benefit of the doubt. So far, all we really know about Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer is from leaked information that claims there will be a social hub. The social hub will add a bridge between the single player experience and the multiplayer experience. The social hub will apparently bring players to places like a bar to find other players and maybe friends for multiplayer in-game activities. It's being said that CD Projekt Red is approaching the game from a very different perspective, and that it will not be like an MMO. Instead, they plan to keep these social aspects from feeling too clustered, which is most notable in games like Destiny and The Division. The multiplayer is said to be a very important part of Cyberpunk 2077, something that CD Projekt Red does not want to be like an MMO. They've been working on their engine to support their master plan, as it said the engine previously was not set up for something like this. It's also said that CD Projekt Red is currently developing something like a mini-game for these social bars, pretty much a mini-game that can serve as the Gwent within Cyberpunk 2077. While I think many of us just want CD Projekt Red to concentrate their attention solely on the single player, as long as it doesn't get diminished by the multiplayer, I'm fine with CD Projekt Red's plan, and I even like the idea of keeping single player gamers away from the multiplayer by including some type of social hub that is like a gateway. So far, CD Projekt Red hasn't done anything to make me believe that they're gearing up to suck our wallets dry. These developers have been extremely pro-consumer thus far. Cyberpunk 2077 may include some sort of microtransactions, but for now, I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt, as who knows what they may have in store, and if it's anything like they've done in the past, maybe what they include can teach other publishers like Electronic Arts how to not be slimy, greedy pricks. And that would have been a good way to end this video, but there has been a pretty big update that I feel needs to be included. Pretty Good Gaming, another YouTuber who discussed this a few days ago, got a response on Twitter from CD Projekt Red regarding their worries, and they said the following: "Worry not, when thinking Cyberpunk 2077, think nothing less than The Witcher 3. Huge single-player, open-world, story-driven RPG, no hidden catch, you get what you pay for, no bullshit, just honest gaming like with Wild Hunt. We leave greed to others." With so many companies screwing consumers just for an extra dollar, like the current EA situation, I can understand anyone being skeptical, but thus far CD Projekt Red has given me zero reason to not take their word for it, and this response is exactly what I like to hear. Even if there is microtransactions in Cyberpunk 2077, I feel CD Projekt Red will show this industry how it's done, in a pro-consumer way. For now, these comments and their track record speaks for itself. Anyway guys, thank you for joining me. If you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, make sure to smack that like button, and let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on the possibility of microtransactions in Cyberpunk 2077. Also, consider subscribing to stay up to date on everything Cyberpunk 2077, and I'll see you later.